Right? Right. Yeah, Jesus said, the poor you have with you always. The welfare state in the Britain beveraged the Thatcher. I mean, the start of it was with Lloyd George, the insurance, national insurance and such like. They used to get 6 months of unemployment and help and such like. He started it up. Then again, say beverage to Thatcher just after the Second World War, they started up this welfare system. Now, if Jesus said the poor you have with you always, how come this great idea about everybody having access to doctors and everybody would be rich and have enough to eat and enough food and everything was supposed to be in place, that they were going to share this wealth around? Well, the thing is, it didn't work, because the more money they gave the poor, the more they spent on gambling. Well, you've got lottery now, haven't you? Another difference of gambling and horses. And then they had lots of money, so they turned and bought lots of drink, become a lot more alcoholics, and more people were addicts to gambling. Then there was the drugs. A lot of people turned over to drugs and spending their money on that. Then of course we got on top of that cancers, and we've got from smoking too much money, buying too much fags, cigarettes, and then we've got diabetes. People like their food, so you get lots of food, so they eat too much. So then there's too much of that going on. So when Jesus said the poor you have with you always, these poor, however much money you give to some people, they will always be poor. They will gamble, smoke, drink it away, whatever. So again, the poor you have with you always in other countries. Now, the welfare state system, which gave National Health Service, sadly has been used for bad things. We've got obviously good things as well used from the care set up, but it tends to be robotised, the care. It's not a free service. It's the people want their wages. They obviously, Jesus said, the labourer is worthy of his hire, the workman's worthy of his meat, and such like. They want their wages, but the danger is once you go over to wages being the primary care, there tends to be a robotic care sometimes in place, if you like. It's robotised, it's manufactured. The Bible aspect to caring, loving your neighbour as yourself, is supposed to come from the heart, where you're supposed to love and freely, not even for money. And but Jesus again said, the poor you have with you always. And whenever Jesus had money, he gave to the poor. The apostles said, silver and gold have I none. Such as I have, give I unto thee. He said, in the name of Christ, be healed. Now, the man was healed. He sat at the gate of the temple and jumped up, went walking, leaping, praising God. That was the poverty they had in money. They had a lot of fish just after Jesus rose from the dead. They had 256 big fish. They sold it for a lot of money. Right? Then we find out silver and gold have they none. They'd just given it all away. Jesus was looking for food when he rose from the dead, and they said, have you got any food here? And they said, we've got a piece of fish left. I mean, they didn't have an abundance. They had very little food, very little of everything. And then, of course, we read about the biblical aspects of welfare, if you like, of care. Now, the biblical aspect was Paul raised money from the richer Christians which were in Corinth, and they distributed the wealth and gave it to the poor Christians who were in Jerusalem, because the Jews wouldn't trade with them because they cut them off as dead, the Christians. And the Jews also were, of course, against the Christian faith, and so there was this famine as well which went on for 7 years. There was also other, but the Bible talks about the problems, and the